Thank you, Katarzyna. Good morning, everyone. I'm very glad to be here in Miskolc and especially to be here in this very special room. I see this is a room where probably you have former rectors or at least former deans on this picture. So, Mr. Weisdean, thank you for hosting us here. I'm very glad to be involved in this project, and you also have to know that this project is very well led. One thing is words from Katarzyna's mouth, but here is words from participants' mouths, also dean of one other faculty. This project is very well led and is also by Katarzyna in János and also by Balint. So I concur to this as an independent observer, let's say. Like the last time, I speak here today also as a former computer programmer, not just as an academic who is dealing with defense and security studies, but I did quite a bit of programming. So I will show you today the picture of artificial intelligence. I was unable to show you a picture last time, but today I'm going to show you the picture and you will be disappointed. Artificial intelligence has been already used on battlefields. One country is Ukraine and another is Israel. Ukraine has been using artificial intelligence in their targeting process. They are getting information from different sensors, putting this information into the computer algorithm which prioritizes the targets. This goes into their headquarters, giving them a little bit of time to commanders to decide what to do with that and immediately on the weapons. This can happen in a couple of seconds. The application is labeled Kopriva. Israelis use artificial intelligence also in the process of targeting, and I'm afraid to say that it's very likely that that artificial intelligence is co-responsible for some amount of the casualties in Gaza. I'm afraid to say that. We don't know exactly how much is this used, on which weapons exactly is this used, but we know that it is used. And we know that military commanders in Israel, they get some kind of advice by the artificial intelligence systems in what to target and also when to target. And we know that the massive scale of civil casualties, they tell us that there is in place massive violation of human rights and there is simply too much casualties. I will not use other harsher words, but I would just like to say that we have this system probably disregarding a large part of international law, and it's being in use. All right, so today I'll be speaking more about challenges in use of artificial intelligence. And just for the beginning again, we are talking about the systems which are algorithms which are able to learn, to adapt to the changing environment on the battlefield or in the world, whatever that is, in the society. And also being able to generalize. We have two types of artificial intelligence which are very much different. One is expert systems, and today I'm going to talk a little bit more about expert systems. And there are risks involved with the use of those, but there is also general artificial intelligence, and the risks here involved are even higher. You will see, we will talk about the Terminator scenarios and things like that. I would like to make three arguments first. First is responsibility, about responsibility. Responsible use or introduction of this into the armed forces is possible only based on a very clear and deep understanding of the challenges, of the ethical challenges, legal challenges, political challenges, and we're going to talk about these challenges today and risks. And also we have to understand what is the worst case scenario, which is uncontrolled and unstoppable development of artificial intelligence, which actually is freed from our control. Second argument is comprehensivity. Here, we have to address this comprehensively, but this means that we'll have to apply regulations on the regional level, national level, regional level, and global level, which will be almost impossible because there will be weak links, there will be countries which will not apply these regulations, and research will be going on there. And secondly, there is no single legal branch of expertise that can solve this. Actually, all legal branches of expertise will be needed. All kinds of lawyers will be needed here, and even though they will probably miss something. And the third argument is timing. it's going to happen like happened with all other weapons, like with nuclear weapons and chemical weapons. We are starting to regulate something. We are starting to regulate theoretical use of these weapons and systems. And this use is already coming, and so we will be late. We will really start regulating this after first very negative examples of use. So, like, you know, Hiroshima, Nagasaki nuclear bomb, the first use of chemical weapons on the battlefield. So we are going to be, part of regulation will be before and part of regulation after. This debate is endless. There are boomers who think this is all good technology, and then there are doomers who think the world will never be the same, you know, and we can get ourselves involved also in this debate, which is just endless. If there are questions at the end, because this is Polish-Slovenian panel, I propose it is better to talk which nation is better in ski jumping, because we'll find the solution earlier than if we talk about boomers and doomers about artificial intelligence. Then I don't have really time to go again. I did this last time, where artificial intelligence is used. Just give me like 30 seconds just to repeat. So it's used in intelligence and surveillance. Militaries and intelligence services are using this to create a comprehensive situational awareness picture. This is very important. Secondly, it's used by autonomous systems, like drones, swarms of drones, to target. Thirdly, it's also used by autonomous systems in a sense of maneuvering, like swarms of drones, convoys, military convoys. We'll be using that. AI systems will take over the simple human tasks in armed forces. So this is another thing. And the last application is cyber warfare. These systems are going to be used as attack weapons, offensive. The scale of attack will be 1,000,000 times bigger than the scale is right now. So we are not talking about, oh, we were attacked last week and we don't know what to do today. The sentence will go, we were attacked 2,000 times today and we don't know what to do. And AI systems are going to be used also on defensive side. So algorithms will be fighting, attacking algorithms, and basically this will be done at the machine speed. So here really is a risk that we lose control over these systems at some point in time. Really is risk, because if we will want to have effective defensive systems, we will not know at one point what is happening. Even the programmers. So here is the picture, ladies and gentlemen, of artificial intelligence. I'm not showing you a drone, a swarm of drone, or tank. Others will be showing you that. This is a code. I actually wrote with the help of ChatGPT, I admit. But this code doesn't say really much. It just says that the drone is positioning itself in the beginning, then it's looking for the target, then it's moving towards the target, then it's trying to prioritize the target, and then it's making a decision by itself or by the help of the human to really engage the target or not. So this is it. Of course, this is just the top-down look at the code. Here are many libraries which are called by the code, and you don't see those other libraries. The catch is actually in those other libraries, not here. But this is artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. I have a picture, this one. There were, of course, we are not only us is concerned about this. There are many calls about it. Here you have written many things. I will just point a couple of things. Even technologists at Google were very worried about this. So Google, as a company, adopted guiding principles on what to do with artificial intelligence. The programmers there, they found out that these systems can be very dangerous. So Google has some kind of guiding principles. There were many campaigns like to stop killer robots. In UN, they started to talk what to do about it with regards to UN Convention on certain conventional weapons, but you can guess Russia, USA, and UK objected in regulating AI there. Also, some governments and some parliaments called for boycott or a ban on autonomous weapons. And the most important is lesson from 2024, which comes out again from companies which are working with artificial intelligence. They have found out in their repetitive tests that this system, the AI systems, are starting to deceive the human programmers. They're capable of deception. They're able to play dead when they are alive, when they're able to play alive when they are barely functioning. they are faking status, like, or they are faking their secure status and so on. So it's coming from the programmers. They are worried about this beast. Actually, this is a beast. We have to be aware of that. What I would like to say and stress is that, of course, we can be very amazed by all this, but the introduction in armed forces is going to be slower than we expect. Armed forces will have to change also the doctrines, the systems, the structures. Who exactly will be advised by the artificial intelligence will be important, so at which level this is going to be in the system. And the second problem will be human absorption barriers. There are people like Europeans, we are not so keen and eager to work with and experiment with technology than Asian people, for example. There is also this interreligious research, social interreligious differences also in this regard. But the biggest problem we will have that there is lack of talent working for armed forces and intelligence services as users and developers of this. The key nest of development is in the companies. Nobody wants to come. You can ask all military people how to attract a great computer programmer to work for your armed force with the salary he or she is getting. Almost impossible. So the problem of the lack of talent will be here. So implementation will be slower. Now, the worst case scenario. I like to talk about this a lot. This is fantastic right now, but it's going to come probably sooner than we think. And I'll start with the bottom of this, the Matrix and the Skynet scenario. Maybe you have watched these movies. The Skynet was an AI system which was running Terminators who were killing people. And one of the Skynet once said, I'm not a human, I'm not a robot, I'm more than that. The Matrix scenario is about conflict between the human society and liberated technology, which starts to use human for batteries. And our reality is just made like a VR reality for keeping our minds happy, but in reality we are batteries harvested by the machines. So, let's this is the end spectrum, but let's go start at this spectrum here, at this part. So the danger is that these systems are gradually starting to exceed human performance. It's not the danger. This is what we want. We want them to be better. So that's the level one. Level two is that they are improving so much, self-improving and developing actually beyond human control. We lose control. And the third element is that they start pursue objectives which are not anymore our objectives, which are not consistent with us. So when this happens, and this is probably, if we are going to implement this at a very high scale, this is going to happen at some point in time in some environment. We don't know what will be the consequences, but somewhere something will be escaped. It will escape. So this is the worst case. Okay, but let's go now more to, this is just for our imagination and for my presentation to be interesting. Now let's go to less interesting parts. There are ethical and legal risks here, many ethical and legal risks. I would just first point to the limited capacity of AI to understand the law of armed conflict. You cannot expect that these systems behave like human and understand the law, even if you insert all the law of armed conflict into the program. Even if you insert that into the program, they will have limited capacity about distinction in force between, distinction between civilians and combatants, exactly what is happening now in Israel. They will have limited capacity to think about proportional use of force. What exactly is proportional use? How much can I defend or attack? The second problem will be accountability gap. So if the systems will be autonomous and they can be deployed and they can decide by themselves exactly what to target, whom to blame if they will cause military crimes and crimes against humanity? Who is now the real culprit for that? Those machines probably will not have uniforms. They cannot have uniforms and signs, so there will be some machines doing something against somebody. So who is responsible? Is that operator? Is that the commander of the operator? Is that the minister who actually tasked the military to do that? Then is also limited ability to make moral judgments. We cannot expect from the machines to make moral judgments. There is something about morality of war and moral war. This is a long history of philosophy of warfare. I don't have time to explain that here, but still. And then the last is the tendency to violate human rights and privacy. These systems will be trained on vast amounts of data. They don't care the system by themselves. And the operators, the technical operators, they will not care if this data is acquired legally. They will not care about that. They will not care about if there will be some ethical errors incorporated, leading to further marginalization efforts when they will be dealing with people based on assessments of this system, and so on and so on. So then this is the ethical. And then operational risks. The first is issue of overconfidence in AI systems. In military, we see that the more sophisticated system the military has, there is more blind trust in that system. They are not looking for information about mistakes or something like that, and we have seen this on American soldiers in Iraq and in Afghanistan. They trust the system. It's like a black box thing. If the system says this should be done, then we're going to do that. It's just, why? Well, because it's the system. It's like veil of objectivity, computational objectivity, but operators don't understand because they were not programmers. You know, the programmers are not going to be there. The programmers will say, oh my God, yeah, well, maybe, yeah, we used 2 digits. If we use 3 digits, yeah, maybe the result is completely different. So what, but nobody can be talking about this with the programmer. Then, incomprehensible decisions. Now, also we are afraid that the system suggests people to do something which is incomprehensible. And this is probably the most serious point of my presentation right now. When AI system beaten the world champion in Go, and the other AI system has beaten the world champion in chess, the system start playing illogically. And both champions said, ha, ha, I thought this is AI system. This is idiotic move. I'm going to beat it. They both lost. But you cannot afford something like this on the battlefield. You understand what I'm saying? That was just a game. You cannot afford, the general will say, I will send now the whole division because the system says there. I'm sending the whole division. And, you know, you may be responsible for their deaths. You cannot do that on the battlefield. It's not, because it's not such a game. Then, problematic validity of AI-based recommendations. Let's say we are intelligence service. I gave a similar presentation 1 year ago, when I didn't know so much about AI yet, to intelligence people, and I was asking them, so what are you going to do if the computer system says you need to target that and that guy? And it's how are you going to check that this recommendation is correct? Whom are you going to ask? Who are you going to ask? They don't know the answer. And they're already working with these systems. Then we are very afraid, this is the bullet 5 or 4, the accidental use or uncontrolled conflict escalation, so-called flash wars. If the systems were starting to attack each other without human control anymore, we are in the risk of war eruption without our knowledge, the flash war. Something will happen and we will not understand what's happening. Well, part of our systems, part of our drones is doing something and we have to check what's happening, you know. So the flash wars, and this is very dangerous because AI is going to be implemented in the nuclear field. And AI systems are vulnerable like all our computers, you know, to data theft, to deception, to hacking, data breach. AI systems can also escape, like Stuxnet escaped obviously to Israelis and Americans. So these are the operational risks. And then strategic risks, this is the last thing. We are afraid that the more we will use these systems, the more we will tend to use them as a first weapon of resort. So we will move more from defending to offending to offensive. So this weapon's prediction is that we are going to be more used to attack than to defend. The threshold for using these weapons will be lower than using classical force. Secondly, this thing is going to proliferate much easier than nuclear and chemical weapons. And we have to understand that we are talking about what you saw about the codes. And part of these codes are going to be open codes, or openly accessible codes. It's not like nuclear weapons where you have in country, like in France, or I'll talk about Slovenia. In Slovenia, you have only a couple of nuclear physicists who really know what nuclear reactor does. They really know technical, and there's nobody else. Now here, the story is different. You have a lot of programmers. They will understand what I showed you, and they will be able to deal with that. So this is going to proliferate much faster, and to criminal groups, to other states like North Korea or whatever, and to anyone in this planet who will not need any more technical knowledge because he can ask AI general artificial intelligence system what to do with this code on how to make chemical weapons, for example. So it's going to be also easier to produce chemical, biological weapons and to attack because they will be assisted by AI systems, just like us. The problem of dual use was already discussed. Yes, the same algorithm which will drive the car is going to drive the tank, except they will put some other threats in the tank algorithm, like be careful about the drones which can come from above, be careful about the incoming missile, and be careful about other tanks and soldiers. That's the only difference between the car driving algorithm and the tank driving algorithm. We will get entangled ourselves in global arms race, what is China and USA already doing. We will create a distrust among countries. Some countries will have these algorithms and will be using them, some countries not, and we will be unable to assess exactly what is the power of these algorithms. And this will lead to distrust, and distrust leads to over-assessment of the capabilities. So we're, again, like in the year, I don't know, with regards of nuclear weapons in the end of 50s. And the last but not the least, we are risking to enter a higher level of, or to, let's say so, to decrease our levels of democracy. If these systems are going to be used in intelligence processes, in constitutional protection processes against all our citizens, in surveillance, or against all of us, and part of the use will be uncontrolled and will be comprehensive, we are actually entering something which can be called AI police and intelligence state. So with this technology, we are actually testing ourselves again. How much are we able to, with the greater use of technology, how much are we able to protect our democracy? Because it's going to be also a threat for us. Yeah, for the conclusion, regulation will be late, like all regulations of very new weapon technologies. Regulation will be very complex. We'll have to strive towards comprehensive approach, but still there will be some weak links. Somewhere there will be Somalia, North Korea, or some European state, or there will be some seller. Our kids will be in our cellars doing something and nobody will know. Like there will be some weak links here. And application in armed forces will be slower than we expect, but first negative uses will be very, very, very bad. And we will try to learn from that and go from there into higher level of regulation. Thank you very much. This is more code if you want to enjoy.